Hey everyone, thanks for watching us right here on YouTube. Commander's Brew. We're happy to have you. You know the drill. If you like this thing, go down and hit subscribe right here on the channel. Or if you really love it, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/commandersbrew. But right now, we're going to get into our War of the Spark preview for the legendary creatures. But if you want to see the rest of the cards or the planeswalkers, those are two other separate videos right here on the channel. Just surf over to those. All right, well, let's get into it.
Let's just frame what you're about to listen to. We're going to start with all the legendaries. Then we're going to talk about the cards by color that are just kind of the regular cards. Then we're going to have a special segment on the planeswalkers. We always do that, but normally this is going to it's extra big for this episode because there's so many. But to start us off, we'll just talk about any new mechanics and see if they make sense for Commander if we're very excited about them. As you know, this is a set with a ton of planeswalkers, so that's different, but surprisingly few new abilities. The only new ability on any card is Amass.
Really?
And it's that ability that lets us, when it's tacked on to other spells or creatures, that you make a little zombie token and you add +1/+1 counters to it. It's worded in such a way that you can never make more than one. Unless you somehow clone them or somehow make copies another way, you can't actually use Amass. So I don't think it's an ability I care to brew around in Commander. I'm not going to seek out all the Amass cards. If I have a zombie token deck, if there's any Amass cards that are also incidentally good regardless of the Amass, for sure. Like, because there's some creatures that give all your zombie tokens flying, give all your zombie tokens menace. Those are good, but I like them for that, not for the Amass ability.
Yeah, as a person who does have a zombie token deck, it's not just tokens, but, you know, zombie tribal. I think there's a couple of cards where it's like, hey, this is a counter spell that now amasses, or this is like something else that also does amass. Like, those cards might find their way into a couple decks. So yeah, I think, but otherwise, like, amassing one giant zombie token in Commander isn't that great. You know,
No.
any kind of bounce or, you know, just too many creatures that can just blanket, you know?
So Amass is probably super fun and limited, but we're not super keen on it or excited in Commander. The other thing that's coming back is Proliferate, which is obviously in a Planeswalker set, that's great. So obviously, you know, if you have a deck that wants Proliferate, we're going to get a lot of new tools to use that Proliferate. So more decks will have access to it than ever before. They've disguised Landfall in other things. They've disguised Battalion in other things, but we're not going to cover those because they're not big mechanics. So that's it for mechanics. I think we're ready to get to the legendaries.
Yeah, I think so. Let's get right to it. Our first legendary, I think probably the most talked about legendary also, is Feather, the Redeemed. Red, white, legendary angel. It's a 3/4. It's at rare. It's flying. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step.
So I think what we're going to do, we're going to ask two main questions about each legendary. Do you want to brew around it? And what kind of decks want this in the 99? I'll tell you this much. I'm excited to brew around this card.
I think everyone is. I honestly think everyone is. This is like probably the Boros Commander we were all kind of asking for, right? Something with a unique ability, not simply combat based. Yeah, I love it. I think the reviews around the internet seem to be nothing but positive. I think everyone's stoked about Feather. I know the Command Zone gang already put a pretty cool deck together for it and stuff like that. So yeah, Feather just looks great. I saw someone posting on Reddit about like Zada and Feather and like doing some really crazy shenanigans and decking yourself on like, by the time the turn goes around, you know.
I read that same post and someone was like, why didn't you just not cast it? And he's like, I wanted to send a message.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So but I love that, you know what I mean? Like, I love that is now possible in Boros. And the thing of like printing a creature like this, like, it doesn't ruin Boros, it doesn't like wreck it, it doesn't like change the color pie things, because you can still only use like Boros spells for this, right? Like, we can still only use the red hasty cantrippy things, which is what that post was even talking about. So I love it. I think there's so many possibilities with this commander. I'm stoked.
It's true. It's finally like Boros, although we know it as an attacky guild, red loves instants and sorceries. Why don't we have more red-white commanders that care more about instants and sorceries? And I think it's about time we're getting that. So thank you.
Absolutely.
What about the 99? Does this go in any decks in the 99?
I think it does. I think it goes in, like you said, like anything that's like targeting creatures obviously is going to be really good, because that's what Feather cares about, obviously. But that also lends toward like good combat tricks, obviously. So if there's any like, I'm thinking Shu, like maybe a Shu Yun deck would probably not
Shu
mind
Yun
Feather,
wants this
right?
for sure. I think
Because one
Annex
of
and
the
Cymede would
yeah,
want this.
Annex and Siamese is what Jason Alt said. Like the same, like basically Feather is the new commander of that Annex and Siamese deck, which I
Yeah,
agree with.
probably.
Um, but like Shu Yun, the problem is you tend to like you cantrip until you stop, right? So you
Right.
don't you draw lands or whatever. Well, Feather now just makes it so that
Yeah.
you get those cards back in your hand at the end
Really
step.
good.
So like it's great. I love it.
Yeah, cool.
Good
So
99, good as a commander. Very stoked about Feather.
So next we have Ilharg, the Raise Boar. Wow, so this is a legendary boar god. Yet another card for our gods tribal. If we're getting there, we're getting there.
We are getting there, yeah.
3 red, legendary boar god, 6/6 trample. So already this is an incredible rate. A 6/6 with trample for 5 mana is already incredible. Whenever Ilharg the Raise Boar attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Return that card to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So we don't actually get attack triggers because the game doesn't see the card be declared as an attacker. So we don't get any annihilate triggers or anything like that. However, that's still incredible.
Oof.
When Ilharg the Raise Boar dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library third from the top. So we have a way of getting around commander attacks as long as we want to be a little bit patient and get this card in a couple of cards later.
Yeah.
Red is good at drawing cards in terms of like discarding to draw 2. So like we can get Ilharg back very easily. And like I know we can't get attack triggers, but we're gonna get there's some really mean like when it hits, when this creature deals combat damage and just gigantic monsters to attack.
That's like it's basically like sneak attack, except without the sacrifice, which could even be better in certain decks. So I think Ilharg as a commander is actually pretty good. Like you can build around this attacking ability, pooping out creatures from your hand, whether they be giant monsters or whether they be just some cool enter the battlefield. Go back, listen to our Boros Blink deck. There are plenty of good red ETB effects, even though traditionally that's not really kind of viewed as the color for it, but there's a lot of good ones. I'm excited about Ilharg. I think it's pretty good.
I am excited, but I think I'm more excited about Ilharg as a 99. Like, I don't like that it's limited to red.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the other colors just seem like such more exciting colors to do that with. Multicolor especially. I feel like I think a Rakdos kind of deck would love it. Like, that's throwing creatures out that way. Anything that's like a Gruul or a Naya big creature deck, I think likes Ilharg a bit better than Ilharg as a commander.
I would agree with that. This will go immediately into my ale.
Yep.
It's a big fan of that. Anything with Eldrazi, obviously, it's going to be pretty nice. Again, you don't get that cast trigger. You don't even get that attack trigger like for the Annihilator. But just being able to get to drop a free Eldrazi is always very good. So
yeah,
I think Ilharg is, like I said, I think it's solid, man. I think it's very fun. You know what this says to me? You're going to build it a little bit Voltron-y just because you're going to put like stuff that protects Ilharg or pumps it, or you know what I mean? So it makes it harder to kill. And in doing that, that kind of like seems like a little bit of a Voltron style, but you're not just leaning on that as your win con. Like you're doing that as a means to an end of getting the creatures out of your hand. So it's kind of a 2-pronged Voltron attack, which you don't see very often, and I like that.
Yeah.
Great. And I think as 99, like you mentioned, it's solid as well.
Mm-hmm.
For those decks. Okay, next we have our first God Eternal. It's God Eternal Kefnet. 2 blue, legendary zombie god. We're finally getting zombie gods. Finally. 4/5 flyer. You may reveal the first card you draw each turn as you draw it. Whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, copy that card and you may cast the copy. That copy costs 2 generic less to cast. When I got it, and then it's got the text that all these gods have, right? When it dies, you put it into exile from the battlefield, or exile from the battlefield. You may put it into its owner's library third from the top. It's always third from the top, right?
Yeah.
You got to remember if these guys are your commanders. Obviously, just remember not to crack that Evolving Wilds if you
Yep.
And you can forget about that, right? Like
it's
you got to remember
possible.
it's in there. And to be fair, when you're sleeving up these decks, if you build a God Eternal Kefnet or Ilharg deck, you got to be fair and put the commander in the same sleeve as the rest. Like, I know for us, like, we always put it in a different sleeve just because we don't want to, it's annoying if you
For
have
that
so,
exact reason, in
because
case you shuffle it in, you want to find it.
Exactly. But in this one, you have to be, you can't be like, okay, I put it in, so then I'll switch it. Like, just have it ready, because like the ability of you to forget it, I think you shouldn't be reminded by the sleeve. Personally,
Yeah,
I think it's only fair that it, because it's, a big part of this is that it keeps getting put in your library, right? Anyways, what do we think about God Eternal Kefnet? I think it's pretty good. I like it in 99 better though.
Yeah, like so as a commander, it's awkward because revealing the first card and then casting it and then copying it, copy that card. Yeah,
No,
so you have to
you just
do
get
it
to cast it essentially.
Yeah, so this would it's a non-bow with counter spells, right? You would never want to reveal a counter spell this way because it would do nothing.
Right.
So, but that's what a mono blue deck has going for it. So if I'm not supposed to put counter spells in it, all I'm really doing is putting a lot of extra draw and getting that draw really cheap. But again, without the counter spells to back it up, what am I doing with all these cards? I am not really, I can't figure out how this works as a commander. However, in the 99, like any deck that's spell based, your Shu Yuns, maybe a Narset if you want to sneak another creature in there, any like really spelly based decks, this is gonna go great in the 99.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a 99 card. Obviously people will build around it, but
like Mizzix would love this.
Yep, absolutely. Any of the big ones. I think there is a blue deck where it has stuff, your expropriates and your stuff like that. Your blatant thieveries, the big instants and sorceries. Like, you could maybe put that deck together with this guy.
Yeah, but but the problem is now I need top deck manipulation because it doesn't help if they're not on the top of the deck.
True. Yeah.
It's hard. God Eternal Kefnet's a tough
Blue
commander.
Blue does that.
Blue can. Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, I think it's like, halfway decent.
Bigger fan of the 99 for sure.
Yeah, for sure. What's next?
Neheb, Dreadhorde Champion. 2 red for 5/4 with Trample, Legendary, Zombie, Minotaur, Warrior. Tiny text on that pipeline.
Again with the tiny text, Neheb.
Yeah. So here's the new Neheb. Whenever Neheb, Dreadhorde Champion, deals combat damage to a player or a planeswalker, and it has Trample with 5/4, so it's probably going to do a little bit, you may discard any number of cards. If you do, draw that many cards and add that much red mana. Until the end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases in. So Neheb is known now for giving us extra mana. This Neheb has to connect, and then we are allowed to wheel as much as we want. I feel like this is breakable. I don't know how to do it yet, but there's ways we can like wheel up our hand, get a bunch of cards, discard all of them, and then get all that mana back and just sneak out some spells. I don't know how to do it, but I want to, like, it seems fun to try. There's got to be something breakable about this.
Yeah, if he's your commander, I think it's probably fairly safe because you don't get to have any of those like Nekisar black enchantments that are going to really punish people for when they, when you discard or whatever.
Well, only you do the wheeling.
Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Only you do the wheeling. Okay, well then... But there is stuff for when you get to discard, like Waste Not and things like that in black too, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have access to that. But I'm with you. I think it's, like, very cool. I think this is, like... I think you can do some damage with this. I think I like it in the 99 better of, like, maybe the other Neheb deck, though,
Oh, sure. Wheeling for mana. I think if we're talking 99, I want this in Nekisar for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I can get access to more of my combo pieces. Yeah. I mean, if you're a red combo deck, this is a fine leader because you'll be able to find those pieces easier.
And it ramps you.
Yeah. Sort of.
I gotta say, like, I think that these mono-colored commanders we've seen, these first 3, they're pretty good for monocolored commanders, though. You know what I mean? Like, they're really upping the bar on what a monocolored commander is doing, especially
Fair enough.
For their colors.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think this will upseat regular Neheb. I think or the last Neheb, I think is still going to be the Neheb of choice. Mm-hmm. But I think in the 99, this one will find some spots.
I agree. Let's move on to Niv Mizzet Reborn. This was
Ooh.
a very fun reveal when this one came out. It's Wooburg, 5 colors for the
Yeah.
legendary dragon avatar. It's a 6/6 with flying. He's a mythic. It's when Niv Mizzet Reborn enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each color pair, choose a card that's exactly those colors from among them. Put the chosen cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So
Weird.
you like if you pull exactly the 10 guild colors, you can technically draw 10 cards with this, right?
You should win the game if that happens.
It should just be it should say that. That would be additional text that would make this like people would try so hard to make that happen.
That's
Uh,
so.
Yeah.
So realistically, as your commander, like it's often for 5 color commanders, we often run them just to be placeholders to allow us to play all 5 cards, and sometimes that gives us incidental value. I think the incidental value on Niv Mizzet is more in its flying 6/6 body than drawing cards. Maybe you get 1 or 2 cards out of it, but you really got to brew around that
Yeah.
ability to take advantage. And even at that, they have to be exactly the guild colors.
Yeah.
They can't be 3 colors.
No.
So you can't. So this is a tall order, Niv Mizzet.
I agree. I think it's tall order, and I think ultimately like the payoff isn't crazy unless unless you're blinking them a lot, like unless you have those like that sort of built into this deck, which I think is now you're kind of warping it towards that, which I don't know how many colored cards there are that do that, right? Like I'm sure
Right.
there's some blue-white ones, your Miss Meadow Witch, things like that, right? But do those count? Those must count.
A Miss
Hybrid-
Witch does.
hybrid counts, right?
Hybrid
Yeah.
does count, but ones with a flashback of alternate color do not.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like,
So it's
'cause
not
the-
color identity, it's
No.
CMC.
Yeah.
But it's choose a card that's exactly those colors.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
get one
so-
Azorius card.
Right, okay. So like what I'm saying is I think though that this gives us a new kind of deck which we haven't even seen, which is like guild tribal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
every card in your deck is now 2 colors exactly. And you build it like almost kind of Ravnica themed, kind of. You don't have
Sure.
to, but that would be kind of fun. And there you go. So like all the guild mages are in there, and like all the 2-color gods and stuff like that. Like, you could put something pretty fun together too. I also think that Niv Mizzet Reborn is a decent Planeswalker commander, Super Friends, because like so many good Planeswalkers are 2 colors. Like you're just especially if you decide to load up on the 2-color ones, like you could hit a lot of them
Yeah,
when he comes out.
that's true.
And like a big 6/6 flying is nice little blocker. So
I mean,
yeah,
realistically, even if I can reliably draw 2 extra cards every time I cast my commander, that seems fine.
yeah, it seems all right.
I'm happy to do that.
I do kind of wish there was like I wish he did like one other thing, like I wish he did something when he was out as well, just for commander,
Yeah.
just for like greedy commander purposes.
Yeah,
like,
how about every time you draw a card, you get to do a damage anywhere?
right? That's what Niv Mizzet does.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's like you're obviously probably not throwing this in the 99.
No.
But as a commander, I think like I'm interested to see the decks people come up with for this.
Truly.
All right, what's next?
So next is another one of the God Eternals. It's Ronus this time, who's come back from the dead. 3 green for a 5/5 legendary zombie god with Death Touch. Always interesting when a giant creature has Death Touch.
Yeah.
When he enters the battlefield, double the power of each other creature you control until end of turn, and those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. And he has the usual die text where he'll go 3rd from the top. So if we're talking about main commander, I feel like this is a very good ability. I think this is the first time we've had the Crater Hoof ability on a commander.
It's
I
not.
know we can get it like with Azuria by paying for it, but just the mere casting of this guy. So your opponents have to always be aware that you can sort of Crater Hoof. I know that you don't
It's
get
not
trample.
though. It's not. I don't even think it's nearly as good as Crater Hoof because like.
Of course, there
Well,
will never be
obviously-
anything as good as
sorry,
Crater Hoof.
That's not really what I meant to say. Like obviously it's not as good as Crater Hoof. What I mean is that like I even kind of balk at calling this a Crater Hoof like ability. Like it's not even really an overrun because if you have a bunch of 1/1 tokens, this is just a +1/+1 for 1 turn.
That's
like,
true.
It's only like doubling is obviously it gets really good if we're talking about we got a bunch of 5/5s out there. Yeah, that's awesome. Now they're 10/10s, huge. Vigilance. Vigilance is a good ability in Commander.
It's very good.
It's not really the one I want for this though. I want Trample, right? I want
Well,
some
I
other
think
type of
you're
evasion. Whereas, I mean, again, Vigilance is still actually very good. It's
I
just
think
like,
you're right, but
yeah,
can I paint the picture of like instead of a token deck then? What if it's like a deck that's just very efficient big green creatures? Like so this would be similar to that oh goodness, what's that legendary bear we just got?
I know. I was
I'm
just
blanking on
thinking
his
of him.
ability.
Yeah, from
Goreclaw.
Goreclaw. Yeah,
So like this is similar to a Goreclaw in that all of the creatures are a little bit expensive, but they're very good. So if you're I think there's room for God Eternal Wilderness as a commander. I think there's a deck out there that takes advantage of this very well. I think Vigilance, when you have a bunch of 8/8s, is nothing to shake a stick at. And let's be honest, most of those big green creatures come with Trample anyway. So like, if we're giving them
that's
all Vigilance
true.
now,
A lot of them do. I I feel like I would just rather have Goreclaw though. Goreclaw reduces the cost and gives them, it's only +1, but like it also gives them Trample, which I think is more important considering how easy it is to I think this is totally fine as an overrun wannabe in a 99, but
so let's move on to the 99 then. So what decks do you want it in the 99 of?
I mean, I don't know, because now I'm like, do I just want one of the Trample ones instead? I kind of do, like
So not even 99s. I feel
I don't know. Yeah, I just
I mean
maybe it's a
certainly in
commander and
Goreclaw.
maybe it's a commander and then you put a bunch of the overrun Trample abilities in, or like you make sure you have lots of ways to give Trample, and then it's really good.
So I think there's a deck out there as a commander, and I think as the 99, I love it in Goreclaw, but I can't really think of a ton of other decks in the 99 where I think it's just so good.
It is still good. Like, let's not like. I mean, it's not great against
Yeah,
it's not great against a token deck, right? Like, all great. All your things get vigilance. I'll just put 3 or 4 tokens in front of your guys. Chump block. Like, that's the thing. It allows chump blocks, unless you're obviously specifically building for trample. But if you're doing that in the first place, like, why not get something that gives it to you? As your
right. That's
commander.
what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So commander, not so much, but maybe 99. I don't feel no. I can't. So are you saying you do like it in the 99 or you don't like it in the 99?
I'm coming around to saying I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I like it all that much at all.
Okay. Who's next?
God Eternal Bontu. 3 black, 5/6 legendary zombie god with menace. When Bontu enters the battlefield, sacrifice any number of other permanents, then draw that many cards, and yeah, if it dies, you put it third from the top. I think again, I'm gonna say like this one is fine in the 99. I think, like, obviously that kind of sacrifice.
Well, let's start with
deck,
commander. Like,
but I think as a commander, it's not really something I'm interested in for a mono black deck. I think it's,
I don't know. I think I do like it as a commander because we don't have. It's not easy to get a commander that just can draw us a bunch of cards all the time. Like I always have access to a card draw engine in my command zone, and I think that's worth it. And it doesn't even go to my command zone. Like, what if it dies? I'm gonna draw it in a couple turns, and then I'll just draw a bunch of more cards.
That's true. I didn't really think about that. Like having Bontu as like your zombie deck leader or something.
Yeah.
You cast it. You sack a few tokens. You draw a couple cards. You can sack him now, as well.
Like with your other sack outlets,
with a different sack outlet, yeah, and then he comes back to your hand eventually. Yeah, that's not bad.
And if I've got those,
sorry, could you even do the thing where like you cast him, you enter the battlefield, sacrifice any number of other permanents. You do it with the draw trigger on the stack, sacrifice him, to like your Ashdod's altar or something. And then he goes into the library, and then you draw him again or her.
Exactly.
I think Bontu is a lady crocodile. But yeah, okay, yeah, all right. I'm more into this now.
Like
actually.
that's a powerful ability to have access to all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm into this. I think God Eternal Bontu is worthy as a mono black commander. Obviously, also the mono black is like the best, arguably the best, probably mono black or mono colored commander
That's
deck.
A tough debate. That's a tough debate.
It's tough debate, but I think there's what I mean by that is I think there's more set up to benefit specifically mono black, obviously with the doubling of the swamps and all that kind of stuff. There's lots of stuff that cares a lot about a lot of black pips, right? You got devotion, stuff like that. So that also gives it a little bit of a boost, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And what kind of decks in the 99 do you think God Eternal Bantu is good for?
Same style of decks, and I think like it's just as good in the 99. I think like if you have a favorite mono black commander you're already using, it's going to go in there. But also like putting this into some Grixis decks might be cool, and just has a cool like definitely repeatable sack engine like we were talking about.
Yeah, I think any deck that you're relying on a sack engine kind of thing going on, I think God Eternal Bantu is worth considering.
Yeah, I agree.
Like any like white black aristocrats kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good.
What do you think about like a Carador? You think Bantu is probably great in Carador?
Yeah, it's yeah, you can find a spot in there. I think there's like other. The thing is like the cards that sit there and while you sack other creatures, just draw your cards are just better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
maybe.
I don't know if it's gonna find a home in too many of those, but
okay.
I think as a commander, it's got some legs.
Okay, great. Next up, as a commander, we've got Tolsimir, Friend to Wolves, 2 green, white. It's a 3/3 legendary elf scout. A scout tribal now as an option. When Tolsimir, Friend to Wolves enters the battlefield, create Voja, Friend to Elves. It's a legendary 3/3 green and white wolf creature token. So you kind of get 2 for 1 here. You get your commander plus a legendary token backup. Whenever a wolf enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life, and that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So Voja gets to fight another creature right away if there's a utility creature there. It's a bit of it's a limited removal on your commander, which I think is good. I'm talking as the commander here. Yeah, man, if I'm in a white-green token deck, I'm getting a token for free here. But I do think there's a lot way more powerful green-white token leaders. Unless I was going for some sort of tribal wolf kind of thing, I don't see Tolsimir upseating any Celestia commanders we already have.
Yeah, I agree. The up to means that you don't have to fight something when a wolf comes.
Yeah,
in, right?
You don't have to sacrifice it in case there's no good targets.
Yeah, so like. The thing is, I love that there's like this thing that cares about wolves. I love it. I like that. I like seeing Tolsimir back. I like seeing Voja back again. That's fun. But like wolves are almost all 2/2s, unless we're talking about the flip. The werewolves.
Yeah.
But
those are all humans.
Exactly. They come in as humans and flip into wolves, and that doesn't count as entering the battlefield.
Right.
So I actually don't think that Tolsimir cares much for werewolves.
No.
So that means we are looking at the stuff that makes like wolf tokens, and those are all 2/2s. So that's like you can have the pack go. So like if I made 3 or 4 at one time, yeah, they could maybe take down a big creature, but then they're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So like I think it's interesting. I don't think it's like useless. It's just that the other thing is like most of those things are like instants and or sorceries that are just gonna like if I want to make like 10 wolves at once to take down some big creature,
How are you gonna do that?
I can do it once,
Yeah.
right? I can do it one time and then I'm kind of stuck. But yeah, so I don't know how good this is. I think there's something there, but I don't know.
I don't see it as a commander. As a 99, I think it might have a spot in another Celestia tokens deck if maybe you want like bigger tokens. It does make a 3/3, so if that's your goal, I don't mind it. If you're a tokens deck that already runs things like Master of the Wild Hunt, you're already generating wolf tokens. This is a nice addition to it.
Yeah.
But this is a tough one to find a home for.
Great. Let's go on to the next one, which is Krenko. We got a new Krenko.
Yeah.
Krenko looks like he's changed a little bit. Maybe he's put on a little weight. Or he's been working out, one of the two.
It's hard to tell with those shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Those Koopa shell shoulder pads.
That's right. Krenko Tin Street Kingpin. Oh, maybe he's just trying to look more like Marvel's Kingpin.
Okay.
He's bald.
Okay.
And he's getting a little bigger.
Did he not have hair before? I'm gonna
know.
look that up.
Honestly, I don't even know. I think he was wearing like a hat or something.
I'm gonna look it up while you
like
tell us what he does.
Krenko Tin Street Kingpin, 2 and a red for a 1/2 legendary goblin. Whenever Krenko attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. So this is cool. Obviously not as good. Like nothing is gonna like unseed original Krenko as
No
the
way.
best goblin token commander, obviously. But if we're looking for something new, or for a commander, I think this is actually not bad. It gears towards more towards attacking, which is like a new kind of take on it as far as your commander goes. Um, and the +1/+1 counter is not enough to like really let this reliably attack. But if you're augmenting Krenko's power in other ways, there's a lot of red auras that do it. There's a lot of instants that can do it. Equipment obviously comes to mind. You can I think this can be really good. Like maybe this is a red like equipment goblin deck. That's kind of interesting. That's just something we haven't really seen before.
I don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm torn because it's asking you to go Voltron-y to go wide
Yeah, that's
alongside of
true.
it.
Which is
So like,
always a tall order. It's always like why
right?
why?
So
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna make Krenko into a 10/10, I'm just gonna go Voltron and kill you with my 10/10,
Yeah.
right? Like these tokens, like, and so then what am I gonna do with those tokens? I'm gonna put Perforos in and get some bonus there. But like, well, guess what? Now I'm making regular Krenko, so like, I don't think
It's
this
true.
makes sense as a command to me. I'm not. Like but let's talk 99. I love it in the 99 of decks that are already like attacking with a bunch of boosts, like a Boros deck that with a lot of equipment
Hmm.
anyway. So like I love Krenko wearing some equipment when he's not the commander, just kind of supporting what else you're doing on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And realistically, again, if you're going to build a goblin tribal deck, like there's just
How can you not do Reginald Krenko unless it's budget?
yeah, unless you're not looking to like have that kind of tappy combo type style. Like if you want to make it harder for yourself, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you run a bunch of extra combat phases. Like maybe you can just maybe this is just like if you want maybe that's it. Maybe original Krenko's just too easy mode, and you're
Yeah.
like, this is not my style. I want to do it the hard way. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. I will say this. I think I remember when we did Kemba as a deck. It's Kemba's another same problem, right? It
Yeah,
wants the Voltron up, and then it makes a bunch of 2/2 cats based on the number of equipment you have. But like you're already Voltroning it, so why do I need all these things? Well, they do provide good defense, which is one thing that Voltron decks tend to lack. So there is that side of it. So if you look at it as just kind of a bonus as opposed to like a thing you want to build around,
sure.
that is positive. But I do remember actually being more fun and more effective than I thought to have the kind of two ways to attack, right? Like to actually split your strategy as opposed to just going super hard on one thing. So I think like try it out. Like because I remember when I was building that deck, I was like, hey, this is working better than I thought. As far as the strategy to win goes. But
All right,
anyways,
I'm
all right,
in.
moving on.
I'm interested. Next we have Rawlesque Apex Hybrid. Two green, green, blue for a legendary human mutant that is 4/5. Roalesque has flying and trample, so a flying trample 4/5. That's all right. When Roalesque Apex Hybrid enters the battlefield, put two +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. Okay, so we get a couple counters, but not on this one. And when Roalesque dies, proliferate, then proliferate again. So double proliferate on our commander, but it has to die for that to happen. Now, the problem with commanders is they rarely die. Like, if we send it to the command zone instead of dying, we don't get this proliferate trigger because it didn't go to the graveyard. That's a problem for me. So
Yeah.
I don't think we can run this as a commander. Like it just doesn't it doesn't work in the command zone.
Yeah, it's just not exciting either. Like who and if you do let it die, like for who? For what? I get to proliferate twice? Like that's it?
I'm gonna run like Vorel and just like get counters even faster than this.
Exactly. And I don't even think it's worth talking about in the 99 either. It's got to die for me to proliferate twice again. Like what? I'm putting
Simic's too
two
good.
+1/+1 counters. Like maybe like this is a mythic. It's a
Yeah.
mythic card. Like this is where I guess it's very powerful for limited and possibly we'll see play for standard, I guess. What they're hoping. But like as far as commander goes though, like this is not a commander.
Yeah, I'll probably
Sorry.
find a spot for it in my Atraxa Super Friends deck. Like that
I
seems
I don't
easy.
think you I don't think you do, because
No.
then you
Yeah.
need it to die.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
I guess it helps protect them, but like you've got limited slots for creatures in those decks, and I
yeah.
don't know if Rolesk is good enough.
Yeah, I don't know either. Sorry, Rolesk.
Sorry, Rolesk. Sorry, Simic.
Yeah.
Next is Fibblethip. He got his own card. Fibblethip
I
the Lost.
know. It's
So
great.
funny. Fibblethip the Lost is 1 and a blue for legendary homunculus. He's a 1/1 little Fibblethip. He looks like he's grown up quite a bit here. Like he's
Yeah.
been lost for a number of years now. When Fibblethip enters the battlefield, draw a card. If it entered from your library or was cast from your library, draw 2 cards instead. When Fibblethip becomes the target of a spell, shuffle Fibblethip into its owner's library.
Okay, so
Hmm.
people, so I'm on one level, I'm very excited that they're willing to make these silly characters that we love as a community
Yes.
into legendaries.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. I also know that when this was spoiled, everyone was going nuts over Proteus staff because that's a way to like make, and so if you build the Fibblethip deck with only Proteus, that's your only creature, and Proteus will always get Fibblethip. You're basically just drawing 2 cards for every activation. I think that's very fun, but for me, that's way too much work to draw a couple cards every turn, which
Yeah.
blue can do very easily. I think Fibblethip is just a nice little throwaway commander that they gave us, and I don't see myself brewing around this very much.
Yeah, I kept trying. I think when this was spoiled, I looked up. Someone wrote an article about it pretty quickly, and it was like, how can we cast him from our library and all the cards that could do it in mono blue? And it's just like, this is a lot of work to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Yeah, we could do it easier.
it's like I appreciate and like the challenge of finding how to make Fibblethip work. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that. I love it, and I hope people. I know people are gonna do it.
yeah.
And it's a fun commander in that respect. But like the ends, I don't know if they really justify the means. We're doing
No.
all this work to draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
No thanks. But like people make Norn the Wary into a deck. People can make Fibblethip into a deck. I think it's gonna be it's going to be, argue. I mean, Norn the Wary is actually pretty decent. You can actually build
Yeah.
a decent deck around him, but I, I'm I would love to see a very good deck around Fibblethip.
that just doesn't just draw cards and spin its wheels.
Exactly.
However, in the 99, a 2 mana creature that draws a card, uh, like that's like if you've got any sort of like bouncy deck, I think this is great. Like this is just a good value for an ETB creature. 2 mana to draw a card with a body is a great value. I'll take it in an ETB deck.
Oh yeah, yeah, in an ETB deck. Uh, just you can't just make sure you're not targeting Fibblethip with a spell to do it,
Right.
because then he'll
Yeah.
be gone into your library. Next.
Ooh, God Eternal Oketra. Oketra's back. 3 white for a legendary zombie god as usual. 3/6 double strike. It really bugs me that they nerf the power to give it double strike. Can we just make it a 6/6 with double strike? Like all the other ones get to be 6/6, but Oketra has to account for the double strike.
Dealing 12 as commander though, that's a
Well,
lot.
I mean, I know it's a lot, but it's so insulting. It's like, hey, like Oketra just doesn't hit very well, and it has double strike.
Yeah.
Anyway, whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 4/4 black zombie warrior creature token with vigilance. Yikes! And the usual die trigger, it goes third from the top. I mean, so as a commander, we have to be mono white. So mono white decks are often token related.
Hmm.
But if we're going non-token, this is our tokens because now we get a bunch of black zombie warrior creatures. It's in our command zone and or just always coming back anyway. So we should be able to have access to do that. So it might be interesting to try a token based deck where this is your main source of token generation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. It's tough to get rid of, like you said. Like it's going to come back in a few turns. More if you have any kind of card draw available to you, obviously. I like it. I think this is the best of the God Eternals.
Maybe like that's a huge bonus for casting a creature spell.
Yeah, it's a big bonus. But like you could just build a whole deck of like 1/1 for 1/1s for one, and
Yeah, just a bunch of idiots,
yeah,
little 1/1 dorks, and
bunch
then
of
just like, here you go,
idiots. And
got a
just like
turtle Ketra,
yeah.
and then five, and then if you have a way to give them all haste somehow.
And the thing is like white's one mana creatures, especially from recent sets. There's been some good ones. Like there's been some reasonable ones, right? Like
Yeah, they're
the
not
one that
unplayable.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think there's a deck here, and I like got it Eternal Ketra. As far as the 99 goes, I think it's also very good.
Oh
Like
my god,
right,
yeah,
like
like you have a Varina deck that would just devour this card.
yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's true. That's really good. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, like you're making 4/4 zombie, like so
And like
Temet
it
loves it.
itself is also a zombie. Don't forget that, right? Like
Yep, yep.
yeah.
Get in, Varina.
And I love that you may put it into its owner's library, because if you're talking about liking the zombies in your graveyard, like you might want Oketra to live there, and you can. You don't
Yeah,
have
but
to put it in your library.
but let's think of Varina anyway. Like this goes in your deck, Varina just draws it again, like with your
Exactly.
draws. Like,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
Oh, this card's good. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I don't want
Cool.
your Varina deck to get any better.
It's funny because I don't even run all the stuff that cares about discarding in that deck, and it's still
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we like God Eternal Catcher quite a bit. Either way. Next we have Massacre Girl, 3 black for the legendary human assassin. She's a 4/4 with menace. When Massacre Girl enters the battlefield, each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than Massacre Girl gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So it's just going to keep going. If there's 1/1s out there, they're going to die. It's going to add more 1/1. So if there's 2/2s, they're going to die. And then if there was 3/3s, they're going to die, and so on and so forth. She does create a pretty serious massacre. And because it's this -1/-1 style of it, it's like even like if there's the steps to get there, even your indestructible monsters like your Avacins, your Eldrazi's, they're not even safe from Massacre Girl if the creatures exist. So I think this is like really fun. I'm just kind of disappointed it's only in black. Like couldn't we have made this a Rakdos commander? Like wouldn't like
Goodness.
like just to give us a little bit of a a little bit more of access as for her as a commander.
I feel that way about all of these mono-colored decks where it's just like, oh, they're just so much better. Just give us another color. I mean, that's why Commander is what it is, right? That's why color identity matters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I
or
think
give her a red activation or something if you don't want her to be 2 colors and limited or standard or something. I don't know, man. Like
yeah,
it would have been fun for her to be a multicolor commander.
So she's gonna enter the battlefield and largely clear the play field. And whenever any creature dies, that will likely always cause a chain reaction. So that tells me we need to make her a Voltron, because she will largely be uncontested in combat.
That's true. But in order to do that, you also want to make sure there are 1/1s out there, so that the chain can get rolling.
Yes, so somehow we're gonna want to like just spew out a bunch of like token generators in black. I know there's a lot of lands are there a lot of lands that generate tokens? There's a lot of artifacts that can generate tokens. So I think we want to just max out on those and make it so that even if our opponent plays an 8/8, we can like dump a bunch of 8 creatures.
It's going to be interesting to see how, just side note, how this works with Amass in limited. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like will you want to make your 1/1 Amass creature and kill it? I don't know. Anyways, same thing for Commander too. You want those 1/1s. You can get some zombies for 2/2s, and then like just see where it goes from there. I'm interested to see how Massacre Girl goes.
Even if your opponent has 1 surviving creature, having Menace means you'll get through pretty easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any 99s that really want this effect? It's sort of like a board wipe on legs.
It's sort of specific though. Like I think you kind of want that build around feature to it. So I don't know off the top of my head like what deck would love Massacre Girl.
I think it takes the spot of a board wipe in your deck that also leaves behind a 4/4 menace body.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Again,
makes
you
it
need
harder for
again
the future. Yeah.
you need the steps there though.
Yeah.
You need the 1-1 into the 2-2 into the 3-3 and so forth.
Or multiple 1/1s into a 5/5. Like that works too.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. I was only thinking of the steps. So yeah, you could just have like wipe 5/1/1s and then that kills 5/5s. Oh,
Anything that's
okay.
6/6 or greater.
That makes it way better then. Then I think you want to build this around tokens for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm into it. And then of course there's obviously a lot of abilities in black that just do this anyways, like that give -1/-1 to everyone. That just makes it
Sure.
easier for Massacre Girl to do her thing. Like you
Oh
could
boy.
like I would almost want to do that and build and make lots of 2/2 zombies and then make them all small and then bam, Massacre Girl.
Yeah. I mean, she makes combat really hard too, because if your opponent like blocks and has anyone die, they'll start the chain reaction themselves.
Yeah. Okay. We like it. I think 99. It's reasonable as well. So yeah, Massacre Girl. I'm very interested to see those decks.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
DJ might have made one already, and that looked
Ooh.
cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Okay, who's next?
Ooh, Storev, Dev Karen Lich. This is a 1 black green legendary zombie elf wizard, 5/4 with trample. Whenever Storev deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, return to your hand target creature or planeswalker card in your graveyard that was not put there this combat.
Not
So
put that in
okay,
this combat. Okay.
I mean, like Golgari decks love to recur stuff. This is a commander that has an ability, so I mean, it's gonna hit pretty hard. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe Storev is our first sort of this type of Golgari Voltron. I know
Mm-hmm.
Jared got really big too, but like Storev was always 5. Put a little bit of equipment or an enchantment on there, and then just keep recurring your support creatures.
Yeah, yeah, that's something. You could also. I kind of want to make like Golgari planeswalkers with this, like
Oh yeah,
bunch of Garriks and Lilianas and Vraskas, and I think that that would be cool because then Storev is simply there to just help with some recursion and make sure you get your planeswalkers back eventually. I kind of like that.
yeah, creature or planeswalkers card. I my brain a lot of time just neglects that word because it's so rarely relevant in Commander.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't think Storev is anything super fancy though. I don't think it's anything super flashy. I'm not excited about Storev, but I think you'll find a use for it. 99, as far as 99 goes, I think this probably goes in a couple of decks. But again, the fact that it has to connect, although it does have trample, but the fact that you need to attack and connect with it makes it like a lot worse, I think, than
I
a
know.
lot of things that just like look at Palace Siege, right? Like that gets us a creature back every upkeep. So
No matter what.
right, exactly. So like I don't think I love it in the 99 actually.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough, like 4 mana for a 5/4 is fine, but
Mm-hmm.
like we rarely care about the stats unless our deck is just really aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd like to see it. Maybe this is a new kind of Golgari aggressive deck that we've never seen before. I'd love to see it, but I don't. I just it's hard. It doesn't pop.
Yeah, I agreed. No pop. Um, next is Tomic, 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 Distinguished Advocist. White for the legendary human advisor. It's a 2/3 at rare, flying, lands on the battlefield, and land cards in graveyards can't be the targets of spells or abilities your opponents control. And then your opponents can't play land cards from graveyards. This seems like they want this to go in like legacy decks or something.
Yeah, I feel like like as a commander, I don't know what this deck would be because it wants to be those like taxi decks that make your opponents unable to do things.
Mm-hmm.
But like if like those decks want Grand Arbiter as their commander, so like
Mm-hmm.
Tomic is a strict downgrade. I mean, a 2/2 flying, a 2/3 flying for 2 isn't bad. Like maybe we can do like a blazing fast, aggressive white thing Voltron because like we'll be able to get Tomic out for a lot of commander taxes and still hit pretty hard. It's got that built-in evasion. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're looking to build mono white Voltron, you've probably got better options. than just a 2-mana 2/3 flyer, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I think as a commander, we're not really talking about Tomic for anything.
No. What about 99?
99 wise, like I could see it going in some of the lands matters decks. Like in our meta, Butler's got a Naya lands deck, which might want it. Although generally those decks don't care if you kill their lands. They actually like it. They deal with lands out of the graveyards all the time. So you as that player wouldn't really care to put Tomic in there because like big deal if my lands get killed, you know? So
Yeah, the only relevant text seems to be your opponents can't play land cards from graveyards, and like the only decks that do that are Ramunap Excavator or Crucible decks. So like if your meta is running rampant with those, yeah, throw this in a white deck. But if not, I don't see this showing up at the table.
Yeah, me neither. Finally, our last legendary of the set.
Cute. It's a Mawu, Loyal Companion. 3 and a green, Legendary Hound. 3/3 Trample Vigilance. If one or more +1/+1 encounters would be put on Mawu, put that many +1. Okay. I mean, it's a mono green commander. It's got Trample and Vigilance. So it's Hound. Like the only other Hound commander could be Isamaru. So now we have mono green Hounds. We never had that before.
Mono green Hounds.
But like as an ability, it doesn't do anything that other green commanders don't do way better.
Yeah, no, this is an uncommon. This is nothing. This is not really a commander. It's not even really much in a 99. Again, like you said, unless you have Hound Tribal or something going on.
It's too small of an ability.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. That's Mowu. I mean, he's a good boy, you know.
A very good boy.
He's a very good boy. He's a very strong boy. Look at this.
Yeah.
That's one ripped dog.
That dog has a 6-pack.
Yeah, right? This dog's got a 6-pack and a 3-pack of tails.
Yeah.
He looks like if Spud McKenzie took steroids, but then also was a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Mowu, though. Yeah, good boy. Good boy.
Very good boy.
And there it is.
Oh, man. So that's all the legendaries. Yeah.
So yeah, there it is. Those are all the legendaries from War of the Spark, the legendary creatures, the ones that could be our commanders, of course. If you guys want to check out, again, the rest of the cards, they're in 2 separate videos. We got the Planeswalkers and then the rest of the cards divvied up. Go check them out. They're right here on the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Big thanks to all our patrons who make these episodes possible.
Yeah, and if you want to check out more comedy videos, check out our Brews News playlist.
Make sure you follow us on Twitch TV to see when we play live.
If you want to chat with us, head over to Twitter. We're at Commanders Brew.
And please hit subscribe to ding the bell and find out when we got new stuff coming out.
See you next time.
Bye.